Because as human beings, one thing that is constant is growth. It could be negative growth, it could be positive growth. It must happen. We cannot escape it. There was a time I traveled for business. I spent more than 2 weeks outside my home. There was no mirror where I was sleeping at night. I usually do my exercises in the morning, every morning without fail. And as I exercise, I went on my knees to do my planks. I usually use my hands and my knees. And there was a rough rug in the room where I usually do these planks. Because there was no mirror in the room, I never saw that the planks I did were causing harm to my elbows and my knees. Until I got back to base and looked at myself in the mirror and found out that there were black spots on my arms and my knees. If I had a mirror in that room, I would have seen it earlier and taken precaution. But with accumulated minutes of planks, my elbows and my knees were affected without my knowledge. This is what happens when you surround yourself with people who don't align with your values and your principles. They can pose several disadvantages to your life. If you're not careful enough, you end up being comfortable around them and you end up joining them and becoming worse than them. Because there's no one to show you your reflection, you would not know that you have shifted from God's original plan for your life. And God's glory will automatically leave from your life. God's presence will be nowhere to be found around you. We're going to list some of the disadvantages of having such people around you, people that don't align with your values, your principles, and your objectives. Number one, lack of support. Both physical, spiritual, emotional support is very important in life. Some people only care about financial support. No, there are different types of support one needs to succeed in life. Some people who end up taking their life don't have the right people around them. Sometimes people who end up depressed don't have the right support around them. Yes, there might be people that love them, but what kind of love do they need? What kind of support do they need at that very moment? Recently, I heard of a lady that went to a podcast to make her final confessions before taking her life. And she did that and left the podcast and took her life. I keep wondering that if she had not gone to the podcast and she went to another person, maybe a pastor or a psychologist to talk to and all that, would she have taken her life? Maybe she would have had the opportunity to heal. If someone had spoken to her and someone had directed her, prayed for her and all that, she would have been alive even after telling her story. So it's not all kinds of support that somebody needs. There are different types of support that you can get from those around you. If the podcast was the right thing for her to do at that moment, she would have felt better after airing her views and speaking to the person that interviewed her. Lack of support can be demotivating. It can make it harder for you to achieve your goals. It makes it very difficult for you to be confident in that your vision and your principles when you don't have people around you that share your principles and your vision. Number two, negative influence. Mental influence, physical, spiritual, emotional. It comes in different shades. Your attitude, your character changes. You find yourself behaving a certain way, the way you dress, the way you talk, and this happens gradually, one step at a time. Before you know what's happening, you are different. You're a different human being. There can even become a transfer of demon. There can be demonic manipulation. Even if you don't end up becoming possessed, the people around you that are possessed will rub off their aura on you, and their presence will bring negative influence to your life. I know of a group of friends, 4 ladies. They have been friends from childhood. They grew up together from childhood and they ended up getting married to different guys. 4 of them are going through marital issues. One of them died as a result of bad marriage. It might not be their fault, but somehow 4 of them are facing the same issues. So who will break the chain? Who is going to advise who? Who is going to pray for who? So when you have such people that don't align with your principles around you, you will end up sharing the same principles with them due to association.